Up with that. So it caught my eye today, so it did, the story of a 72-year-old fella who was basically serving wine and mince pies back in 2020. Guess what? He is now just been sent to jail for 6 months. Now, I do have to confess, he was in trouble for perverting the course of justice because he was tinkering around with some CCTV that he perhaps shouldn't have been. But notwithstanding that, I can't help think, Kevin, why, in this day and age now, are the police messing around, even looking into lockdown breaches? Why are they even knowing what he's doing with his CCTV? Why do they care? I call now for an amnesty. If you broke the rules in lockdown, move on.
I am, surprisingly perhaps to you, quite attracted by the COVID amnesty idea.
That does surprise me.
Yeah, I think.
But I welcome it.
Well, I'll tell you what the problem is. When across the country you have crimes not being investigated, when you see, which happens frequently, people are physically assaulting somebody else and not getting custodial sentences, to then see, in parallel to this, a pensioner, albeit, which I really don't like what he did, is he treated our police with resentment, people who risk their lives for us, but it sticks in the throat, Michelle.
But I resented a lot of police. I remember feeding my tiny little baby on a bench and these police officers telling me that I had to move or else I would be arrested. And I remember saying to them, hey, good luck with that. I'm not going anywhere. I'm feeding my kid. They was telling me it wasn't essential exercise. And I got into a right set to with them. So I did. I was disrespectful to them because I thought they were absolutely ludicrous at times and deserved to be told. Where do you stand on it all?
I mean, I think the example you've just given is a very good example of just how crazy a lot of the rules that were put in place were, right? I mean, I think we can all agree, well, most of us would agree, looking back, that we probably should have done it quite differently. But the role of the police is to enforce the law they're given, so they don't get to choose. I mean, you know, if they are choosing, that's a bad thing. So, in theory, they're told this is now illegal, this is the guidance, this is the rules, you need to go and police it.
Yeah, but use your common sense, though, come on.
Well, and that is actually one of the problems now, that we're removing a lot of the ability for police to use their common sense, use what you would have in the past called sensible judgment, I guess.
But what about my amnesty idea? Why in present day now would any police force, any court in the land be busy processing a historical lockdown offence?
So I've no idea what the history of this particular case is, but you rightly pointed out at the top of this section, there are huge backlogs in the criminal justice system. So I don't know whether this case actually is from 12 months ago, 18 months ago, and is only just coming to court.
But I think nothing. I think if when we were in lockdown in 2020 or whatever, I don't really, you know, whatever's brought it into the current day now, I think you should have a rubber stamp. You pick it up, you go, right, lockdown related, bin. Lockdown related,
I think it's really difficult